Um, so welcome everyone to the Q2 Reset for Entrepreneurs, CEOs, and Founders. And we're going to be here today to decide what matters, eliminate what doesn't, and act and we're going to execute on this relentlessly so that Q2 is different from Q1. Q1, though, might have been good. Let's make Q2 even better. So I am your coach for today, and my name is Sara Basloe. I hope you find this to be really one of your favorite exercises for the year because it is mine. As I was explaining earlier, do it several times a year. I the actual um, program I put together is called the Momentum Manifesto 2026, and every year it changes. So when you get that, it will be sent in the follow-up email, and also in the if you're watching the replay, it will be linked in the replay. It's something you can just make one copy, one template, and then use it over and over and over again. So I've been a coach for 25 years, and 20 of those years I was a master and what was called the Platinum Partner Coach for Tony Robbins. This exercise, as I've said, is one of the most important exercises you can do for yourself. And if you have a team for them, I would pass this manifesto on to them and actually even all the members of your family because everyone is wanting to make progress in their life. Happiness comes from progress. It may be, I'm going to go to making a new recipe or making a new, sweater. But for most of us here, it's really progress and about growing our revenues and really making a difference in the business and the contribution we make to a lot of people, on a bigger picture and a bigger scope. So Q1 I'm going to say probably brought you progress and pressure and showed patterns. So some of those patterns we're going to talk about, and some patterns are driving your growth, and some patterns are quietly costing you everything. And those are the patterns that we really want to let go of. So um, if you don't interrupt that pattern, I don't know if you're listening to this or you're here today, Brian and Terry, we live in patterns. And I mean, we get up, and thank goodness for some patterns. We
Absolutely.
get up in the morning, we brush our teeth, we take a shower. Those are patterns. However, there are patterns in business that need to be interrupted because they're actually not contributing to your growth and your well-being. So Q2 will look exactly like Q1, just more pressure if you don't change some of these patterns. So let me be clear, growth does not come from pushing harder. It comes from seeing clearly and deciding differently. Like every day, I know Terry and Brian, every day in your business, you're making new decisions and actually repeating some decisions because you have to reevaluate them. Uh, and sometimes you just have to make those decisions differently. And that's what we want to look at is making decisions with clarity. So here's my promise to you in the next 45 minutes that you will walk away with one, we're going to do one, and you may have others, but one clear quarter two priority and the courage to eliminate anything that has been holding you back because that is not what we're here for. So before we go any further, let's shift our state. So I mentioned already being hydrated, and I think Brian also chimed in that there are studies that show that when your brain is hydrated, it can actually absorb more information and be much more targeted and conscious. So one thing we're going to do now is also add to that, and that is something that I call priming, because leaders, and you're all leaders if you're here and on the replay, leaders do not execute from overwhelm; they execute from clarity. And so one of the things is getting your emotional state in shape. So what I'd like to ask you to do is right now is put your feet on the ground You may have them crossed or something. I do that too. Um, but I'd like to ask you to, I'm just going to explain this first. I want you to raise your arms and like you're grabbing the air and breathe in, inhale. So it's your arms go up, inhale, and your arms come down and exhale. And we're going to do it rapidly. And we're only going to do it 10 times. I'll count it. But this exercise is actually a Tony Robbins exercise. You can find it on YouTube under priming. I do it every day, and a lot of my clients do it every day because that's what I encourage. And it really sets your day. It gets your energy back up because one of the things while we're sleeping is our energy kind of just, we're chill, and you want to get your blood moving again. And doing this, bringing the oxygen in actually gets your blood moving. So on the count of three, I'm going to start raising my hands, do the same, inhale, and then bring them down and exhale. So starting now, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Excellent, excellent, excellent. I hope you can feel that. I hope you can feel that. It's really interesting. So the way this exercise is done is you do that 10 times, then you wait 30 seconds, and then you do it another 10 times, wait 30 seconds, do another 10 times, and then you focus on gratitude. We're not going to do that today. We just don't have the time. However, do that. Try priming. It's really an amazing way to shift your emotional state. Another thing I do that in the mornings is I get on a rebounder. It's a little mini trampoline. Anything to get the blood moving. And if you walk or run or whatever exercise you do, it's really important. It's really all about blood flow. So before we dive in, I'd like to let's see. I put some things in the chat, and I wanted to make sure that you saw. Well, actually, the first thing I put in the chat, so far it's the only thing I put in the chat. It is the scorecard. It's called the Clarity Scorecard. And I'd like you to open up that scorecard. If you are watching the replay, please go down to the description and open that scorecard because we are going to be using that today. So this is a place for you to put your answers, record your answers. It's really, again, I come up with all these things. I always say, this is important. There's so many things important in life, but writing this down gets your answers, gets it into your body and helps your mind really be conscious and recognize what you're working on and wanting to move forward and process and move out of your life or bring in. So one of the things is we're going to start out with is to answer this question. What are you tolerating right now that needs to change? So I'm going to give you 10 seconds. It doesn't seem like it very much, but it should be enough. And here's the thing. After this program, feel free to come back. There will be a replay on YouTube, and if you go on YouTube, please subscribe. But you'll get an email in a day or so with the replay. And what you want to do is you can redo this whole thing, the exercise, and take your time. You'll have more time to do it. So, but right now, if you would write down what is the thing that you have been tolerating, and I'd like to also bring to your attention that often when we want to answer something, we do get an answer in our head, but we judge it. And we think, oh, that's not the right answer, or what, it should be something more significant, or whatever that might be. Do not judge your answers, just write them down. If you don't like them later, cross them out. But it is so important, again, to listen to that wisdom from your subconscious, what you're really doing when you ask a question of yourself and you just allow your thoughts to come up with the answer. You're actually tapping into the wisdom of your subconscious. So the next question I have for you is, where are you playing smaller than you should be? Where are you playing smaller than you should be? Write that down. It should, if you opened up the scorecard, you won't have to rewrite the questions. It is, there should be some place in the scorecard, but this one is not actually on the scorecard now that I've said that. But um, write down, where are you playing smaller than you should be? Terry and Brian, what comes to mind for you if you'd like to share? Where would you say you're
Okay,
playing?
would you like to go first here?
No, you go ahead, Brian.
Okay. Um, yeah, great start here. Thank you, Sarah. Uh, Seemed like the most fantastic speaker of all time. So thank you. Yeah, I guess the first question there you asked what I'm maybe tolerating. You said.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, actually, if you could skip down to
oh,
where are you playing smaller?
oh, you want to start with that? Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was yeah, trying to think here, playing smaller, and I'm sure you mean um maybe like in a certain role that I could be taking like a larger um
Right. Well,
workload in.
yeah, generally it's where we run into our own limiting beliefs, where
Mm-hmm.
we say, the thing that comes up for me is someone gets a job offer and they think, I can't do that. I'm not qualified. And in fact, it's a message, it's a filter in their brain when in actuality they are overqualified. So what are things in your life where your brain is giving you the message you can't do that? It's limiting your ability to really grab onto something that's much greater for
Oh,
you.
this is a more general life thing. I thought this was about the business.
Oh, well, it could be. That's part
Oh,
of
okay.
life. That's
Okay.
part of life as well. That's part of
Right.
life as well.
Yeah, I mean, like
Absolutely.
you said, just kind of going with the first thing that comes to mind here. No right or wrong answer. Playing
Correct.
smaller than I should be. I mean, again, I don't know if this answers the question directly, but first thought that just pops in my brain is that I've really been, trying to address this particular issue, and I feel like I have recently by investing 100% of my time into the business because the last year or two I've been kind of I mean, I've been running the business for over 5 years and we've been doing great. But I've also had this other love called basketball coaching that I've done for over 20 years. And it was kind of always pulling me, it was kind of hard to leave that because it was kind of like a childhood love. So, but I've done well in business and I
Okay. So
decided to,
Brian,
yep.
bring it down. Get
Oh,
it focused. What is that one thing that you've been playing small at? Is it not doing the business 100%?
there we go.
Okay, okay. I'm sorry to cut you off, and I want to make sure we got a lot of information and and a certain
Sure.
amount of time. So thank you, Brian. And we have to talk about basketball. I've got some really interesting information for you. So
That's funny.
that'd be interesting. Terry, where is one thing where you're playing smaller than you should be? What would you say there?
I don't play small. I live to
Okay,
the full hilt. I regret nothing and I create everything.
rock on. That's awesome, Terry. Okay, great. Love hearing that. So, um, and if you made one bold decision today, what would that be? So, if Brian and Terry, you could write that down, and anyone watching the replay, what if you made one bold decision? What would that be? So, please write that down. What is one bold decision you could make today? What would it be? Great. So that's the level you lead from today, not reaction, decision. That's really important to understand that it's not reacting You're not taking action from overwhelm. It's from really conscious decision. So now this room is for very specific leaders. You're doing, whatever your revenue is between X and 5 million gross revenue. You've got a proven model that works, let's say, but now you're stuck between hustle and scale. And you've got too many priorities, too many decisions running through you, too many things too many actually things that depend on you, and maybe even too many people that depend on you. So you're not lacking strategy when you're in this situation, you're overloaded with it. So what you need is clarity and constraint, things that give you some boundaries and allow you to execute with discipline. Often I find with my clients, they are talented, incredibly talented people, and they want to do so many things, yet they need some boundaries to set up and work through boundaries so that they can make progress. One of the things that I always focus on is taking massive action on one thing. When I first started as a coach, I set up goals. I had 8 different categories, and in each category, I had three goals in each category. By the end of the year, boy, was that a great lesson. I saw that I achieved a little bit in a lot of spaces. And what you really want to do is focus on massive action so you can make massive progress. And you'll see that that may impact your annual goals in a huge way. So what I generally do is work with my clients on something called the Momentum Manifesto. 2026 was this year, next year will be 2027. It's working at reviewing what was in the past, what was the past year, and what's coming in the future. And so I've actually created a shortened version of that in that Clarity scorecard. And this is not theory. It is an absolutely wonderful working tool. And when you use it, you will start finding that you will focus more. It's really important. Focus is like one of the biggest things. I say setting boundaries, and it's really about focus. So now let's get real about Q1. This is not a reflection. This is about leadership. So I'd like you to write down in on your Clarity scorecard in section 1. Write down right now what actually worked for you in quarter 1. Think of January, February, March. What worked for you? It may be some specific event or specific action you took, but what really worked? Not what felt busy, but what produced results. And you may say, I didn't get results. I would challenge you to see where the result is. And if you feel that you didn't get results, then you're in the right place today because you don't want another quarter to go by without results. So results are revenue, maybe momentum, growth, whatever you consider would be your progress for quarter one. So write that down. What produced results for you? What worked? Revenue, momentum, growth, teamwork, prospecting, leadership. What worked? And then the other side of that is what drained you? What drained you? Where did your time go with little return? Where did your time go with little return? It's important to recognize that, how you made a decision to spend time on something that seemed really important. And in the moment, in Q1, it might have been, but this is your chance to see, was it really the right action for you to take? And if it turned out that it was not, that it didn't give you the results that you wanted, then your decision is going to be to not do it for Q2. Or if it was something that did give you results, do you decide to keep that going? So be honest with you. Where were your bottlenecks? And all of this is still in the scorecard on section 1. I hope you're writing. The next question is, where did the business need you, but shouldn't have? Now, this is a little way of looking at it. Like, did you put time into your business? It's sort of another version of, where did you put your time with little return? You felt like the business needed you in that area, but maybe it shouldn't have. Again, write that down, because those are areas that when you start planning your day and you see that you're putting more time there, often many clients spend a lot of their time with um, their staff coming in, taking up a lot of their time, and they feel like they need to do that to give direction to everyone so they can be on the same page. But often it does sometimes happen that you need actually not necessarily that you need to be available for everybody 8 hours a day, but it really is often having a meeting time, a set meeting time where everybody knows that you're going to be there, and then that you help them to be more organized that way. It's really amazing. So now, going a little deeper, where did revenue actually come from? This is the big one. Where did the money come in from? Where did your gross revenue actually come from? We're not talking about net revenue. That's another seminar, another webinar, versus where your time went. So where did the revenue actually come from? And where did you put your time? Was it did your time match your revenue stream? That's an important thing to consider. So if those two don't match, you found your problem. It's really interesting how it can be just so simple, but it takes this time to sit back, and it's what's called think, think time, just think time. You are taking, I'm so excited for you. I'm proud of you, even though you're on the replay, I may not even know you. I'm proud of you for taking the time to step back and think about what is really happening, as opposed to just, getting on that treadmill, that, your next run, your next, the next lap or whatever it is. So here's the truth. If you don't identify what is grabbing your attention and your time, you will repeat it. And that is the thing that is so shameful, because if you are giving your time away, you could be making huge contributions, not only to your own organization, but to other organizations, other charity contribution, other learnings. So look at really what the truth is. So now let's shift to section 2, okay, on our scorecard. Are you actually on track for 2026? What are your goals for 2026? I'd really like to give you, I'm going to be quiet here, but I'd love to have you write down what was your 1, 2, or 3 top goals for 2026. And then we're going to look at those compared to what happened in quarter 1. So I'm just going to give you a couple seconds, 10 seconds. What were your goals that you set for 2026? What were those goals? And actually, if you don't remember what those goals are, often I have clients do this all the time. They show up and we talk about what are your goals? What were your goals for 2026? And they're quoting some goal that was not what they had identified. So that often happens. And I'm not saying you can't shift them, but notice if that's a pattern that you set goals and then they disappear and you move on to something else. Because if they were important enough for you to set in the beginning, then you want to evaluate why aren't they important enough for you to be taking action on them. So, so I wanted you to write down your goals because when you're doing the work that you do on a daily basis, a weekly basis, are you just being busy? Or are you keeping an eye on the goals you set for this year? So look at this through three lenses. Number one is revenue. We just talked a little bit about that. What happened to your revenue? What progress did you make on revenue in the first quarter? Look at capacity. Did you take on more help, assistance to help you, or did you take on more capacity in your manufacturing? You know, where and what was your personal capacity? Were you able to do more by doing less? So what was your capacity? And then the other lens I want you to look at this whole process through is focus. I've mentioned that before. Revenue is, are you where you need to be? Capacity is, does your team and your systems support the growth that you want? And, or do they create friction? And the focus is, where are you putting your attention? Where is your time and your energy actually going? So you have to decide right now, are you on track or are you drifting off course? Be honest. So I'm going to put Brian and Terry, I'm going to put you on the hot seat. Where would you say when you're thinking about the first quarter and your goals, how would you evaluate that? Do you feel like you're on track, or would you say you're drifting and off course?
I would personally say that I am on track because I've addressed certain needs.
Excellent. Yes. Excellent. So and everyone, this is important. Whatever we do today, I hope you'll celebrate, because another important thing that makes a huge difference in your brain is celebrating, whether it's a small win or a very large win. The more you celebrate, you give your brain the message that's the outcome you want. When you only find fault, your brain starts looking for things to find fault. When you only celebrate, your brain only finds things to celebrate, and it will start you making decisions that will be congruent with that. So Terry, I'm curious, how do you feel about the first quarter? Were you on track or drifting? What would you say?
I'm absolutely right on track. Completely
Ah,
focused. Things are working out, um, and moving
Good,
forward.
good for you, Terry.
Yeah. Thank you.
excellent, excellent. I'm so excited for both of you. That's awesome. So now, most founders, not you, are actually not off track because of strategy. They are off track because of what we've been talking about, that misplaced attention, that focus. And it sounds like the two of you are really, really on your focus. So I just want to acknowledge that. So
Thank you,
now,
Sarah.
you're welcome. You're welcome, Brian. So now this is where everything changes. The Q2 reset. We're now getting down to section number three. There are three decisions. That's it. Three decisions you actually have to make moving forward. And it's to reinforce, release, and refocus. So the first, reinforce what is already working, double down on it, protect it, uh, scale it. Brian, it sounds like you got clear on what you want in your life, and you are doing that. So that's excellent. So that's reinforce. The second one is release. And it's what we asked earlier, what is draining you? It's about
Ooh.
cutting it out, eliminating it, or delegating it.
Mm.
If it's something that is really still important to your operation, do not eliminate it. Find someone who can execute on it as well as you did. So important. So listen carefully. If you don't remove it, it will remove your growth. So remember, sometimes it feels hard to do those three things, to reinforce and to release. Um, it can be really, really tough. Reinforce, release, and refocus. Those three things are going to make a huge difference in your quarter two. So choose one. Now we want to move into execute. And what I'd like you to do is choose one priority for Q2. Not three, not five, just one. And you will have other priorities. However, make this priority the thing that gets you out of bed, makes you zip up, get going, and really give you a lot of juice. If everything else works, but this fails, Q2 is a loss. So that's the level of commitment I'm asking you to make. So write down what is one priority for Q2. And then I'd like you to look at how will this one priority impact your overall yearly goal? Is this congruent? Is it in alignment with that goal, with your bigger goals? Or is your attention being taken away to something else? So once you have that, then what we want to do is define what does success look like in 90 days with this priority. So write down, so we can make this real, what will this be like? What does that mean? Make it measurable. Is it something you do every day? Is it something you spend an hour on 3 times a week? Is it whatever it is? Make it measurable so you can have a way of holding yourself accountable. And make it non-negotiable. Make it be something that you can't get up in the morning and have it in your time blocked in your calendar, and there's an hour and you see it and you say, I'll do it later. Make it non-negotiable. And after actually doing this for 3 weeks, you'll see what pattern you are creating around that one priority. And if you're seeing that you're pushing it off or you're really focused on it, you can tell. And often when we push things off, it means that it was actually not the priority that was really meant for you to focus on. However, don't give it up. I'm saying you've set a priority and now you're seeing you're not doing it. Decide again, is this the right priority? If it is, recommit to it, reinforce it, focus on it, and make it happen. So now let me talk to you about what founders avoid. Founders, entrepreneurs, they don't fail from the lack of insight. They fail from the lack of sustained focus. And that's more or less what I was just talking about, like having something time blocked in your calendar and then pushing it off, saying, oh, I can do it tomorrow, but it's already time blocked for tomorrow. So what happened to today? You already know what to do when it's in your calendar. You already know what is most important. The question is, will you actually do it consistently? Bring it down to very basic. That's what happens to people on diets or people who say, I'm going to get into shape. They do it, for a week, or they'll do it for several days, or do it for a month. Have you ever heard? I use this a lot with clients. There's something called the 75 hard. Brian, have you ever heard of that?
I haven't.
Terry, have you ever heard of 75 hard?
No, I haven't.
Well, it's really interesting. I'm not suggesting you do it because it does have its specific, you can look it up online. It has specific requirements. One is to work out twice a day. One is to read 5 minutes a day of something you want to enjoy or something that leads to growth. Um, but I'm not sure. I can't right now. I can't remember exactly what the other things are that are part of the 75 hard. I use this for myself all the time because it's a great way for me to stay consistent and committed. It doesn't have to be around physical things or whatever, but it is a way of holding yourself accountable. It's maybe making it a bit of a gamifying it, that you get to do something special after,
Yeah,
a
I'm
1 month.
assuming I'm assuming the 75 refers to 75 consistent days.
Yes, that's it, Terry. Thank you for clarifying that. Absolutely. It is 75 consistent days. And you get to see what the impact is. I'll go out on a limb here and say it's really hard to fail when you do something for 75 days. We just want to make sure that one thing that you do for 75 days is the right thing.
Do you know
Should
why
you
that works?
tell me, Terry? Why do you think?
well, well, it works because it takes about 75 days or 10,000 hours, the 10,000 hour thing
Right.
too, for the subconscious to realize that this is real now and this is what you want. And the
Right.
subconscious rules everything, whether we're aware of it or not. So that's where
Yeah,
that fits in and why it kicks in.
absolutely. Absolutely. What's
Also,
yeah,
I you said
yeah.
some stuff, and I don't want to forget it, and I'd like to share it with Brian. Brian, if it doesn't fit, it's just my interpretation. But Sarah really helped by saying something that which we focus on is that what we create. Basically, is what she said with focusing. And you said earlier that I heard that you had a conflict between working 100% in your business and doing the coaching that you loved. And what I heard was you've created that issue that you have to do one or the other. And I think if you switch your focus, that I can do both and both help each other. And that focus, you'll find that there's no conflict anymore. You can spend time doing the coaching you want and 100% on your business because they're both the same.
Brian, I might reinforce what Terry's saying. Another client who I worked with a number of years ago was in soccer and real estate. He was a soccer coach and he worked really hard at it. And
Yeah.
he built his business because of all the people, all the parents, all the people he met playing soccer. He wasn't playing, he was
Sure.
coaching. But,
Sure.
Terry's got that's a great example,
No.
Terry. Yeah,
Absolutely. I
yeah.
won't take too much time here, but if I can just respond to both of you. Yeah, one, Terry, absolutely. And Sarah, you too. And just a quick insight. Yeah. I think conflict is kind of like a overused word in this situation, but it was something that was kind of pulling me. And I hadn't felt content the last year or two. I have reached a point where I am. So, but all of these things apply, and that's great
Oh,
wisdom.
good.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's really amazing how um, pain makes something a must. You can no longer sit in the pain of discomfort when you need to
Love it.
make it.
Love it.
Yeah, yeah.
Love it.
So
Thank you both.
I wanted to share with you and anyone listening in the replay what I've created with another Tony Robbins coach. We both are not coaches for Tony any longer. I was with Tony, as I said, 20 years. What we've done is we've set something up that's basically we're calling it the CEO Reset Council, and it's not for more information. It's a room that it's like a structure, like being here on Zoom, but this is a room, a structure, a rhythm that founders, entrepreneurs, you know, and there'll be small groups, but that are committed to execution. And it's going to be weekly accountability, clear priorities, real decisions, a place to really get over any obstacles or doubts that you might have, because often it can be lonely at the top, whether you're a CEO or you're a founder. Being at the top, who do you talk to? I often have coaching clients who they're like, I can't talk to my vice president and tell him what I'm really thinking. I can't talk to, my wife and tell her what I'm really thinking. So, or my husband, whatever it might be. So you need a place where you can really get some share what you're feeling and thoughts that you're feeling. And so I'm inviting you to come, be aligned and actually have a place to follow through on things. So if you're sitting and you're thinking that might be something you need, let me know. I need to put my information in the chat so you'll have it. Also, I'm on YouTube under Sara Basloe, SaraBasloe. Um, so you know what you need. It's just having someone to share that with, to cheer you on, to brainstorm about it, and to actually help you push through some of the obstacles. Um, so, um, what I'd like to do though first is come down. Have you both identified that one priority that you want for the next quarter that you want to work on? Okay. Terry, do you have that one priority?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Okay. So what I'm going to ask you to do is this is your homework assignment, should you take it on, kind of a mission impossible, but it's not impossible. So I'm going to ask you to block 30 minutes today, not tomorrow, but today, and answer for yourself what worked in Q1. We're kind of doing the same thing over again because I really want you to get this in your bones. What worked, what drained me, and what is that one priority that I'm going to accomplish in Q2? And be sure that that one priority does head you in the direction of the overall goal that you have for 2026. And then decide, that's that whole thing, Terry, as we were talking about, is the 75. You need to decide and then you need to commit. That's usually where people fall off their goals, is they make a goal but they haven't yet decided. They think it sounds good, looks good, the outcomes look great, but they haven't decided to do what it takes. So you want to decide, and then that's great. You must then commit, because if you don't decide and you don't put it on the calendar, you don't get the momentum. And that's what today's call is about, momentum. So lock it in, put it in your calendar, that one priority. Make sure that you do schedule time for it so that in a week from now, you'll be like, oh my gosh, and what I find is when clients do this, when entrepreneurs, executives do this, they actually achieve their goals 2 or 3 times faster than they thought. So goals that were set for quarter 3 and 4 actually get done by halftime. It's really amazing. Which we will have another one of these in at the end of June or the beginning of July, and it's called halftime. Um, so does anyone have any questions? Terry or Brian, any thoughts or anything you want to share before we wrap up?
I was actually going to inquire a little more about Terry's business. I know he mentioned in the beginning that you did marketing, Terry, and can you tell me a little more about what you
Sure,
do and
sure, I'd be
what you
happy to.
provide?
If it's okay with Sarah.
You know what I'd love for you guys to do is put your because anybody who's watching the replay won't see the chat. But
Oh,
if you would
I
put
forgot.
your phone
Let
numbers
me
in the
just say,
chat.
Brian,
Yeah.
I'm on LinkedIn, Terry Palma. Just look up last name Palmaterry. Just look it up and we can connect there.
Okay.
And if you want to put it in the chat and then save the chat, you might want to do that, and then
Okay.
you'll have that clarity scorecard as well.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And then if you all will just go to YouTube, go to Sara Basloe, watch the replay, subscribe. That would be wonderful. My next webinar is Tuesday. I'm sorry, actually, it's not Tuesday. It's going to be on Tuesday, April 28th. It's what we called I put together a series of 25 webinars called the Weekly Momentum Webinar. And it's all about business and your business, your relationships, your finances, your networking, all of it in a 25-week program that keeps building and builds on its own. And if you're ready to execute at a higher level, I'd love it if you stepped into the CEO Reset Council, because you don't need more effort. You just need better decisions and discipline to follow through on those. So decide now. Will Q2 be a continuation or a turning point for you? You are writing your own mystery novel. So with that, look forward to seeing you soon. And Terry, keep looking on Meetup, because my programs are listed there. And if there's anything I can help you with, was there something specific that you
I
might
left
have?
you a chat message if you'll look at that, if you got it.
Yeah, I did. I got it.
Okay.
I did
All
get
right.
it, Terry. And I will do that. I gave you an
Yeah, I'm on the
emoji
phone,
back.
so it's hard for me to see chat stuff. I don't know.
Ah, okay,
My
okay.
phone,
Yes.
my computer, the mic doesn't work, so I can
Oh,
see
oh,
but I can't talk. So that
I
and
understand.
yeah, so
Technology.
yeah.
Technology is really interesting. Well,
Well,
so
thank you very much, Sarah. I really
yes.
appreciate
Uh,
what you shared with us today. Brian, it was nice meeting you. You can reach
You
out.
as
I put my
well. Thank you
contact
so much.
information in the chat.
I have as well.
Excellent, excellent. So guys, go be triumphant. Go make it happen. Enjoy it. The most important thing actually is to have fun doing it.
Thank
So
you, Sarah. Thank you, Terry.
thank
Amazing
you.
event.
Excellent. Thank you, Brian. Put that in Meetup, Brian.
What's that?
In Meetup, you can give them feedback. So
Oh, yeah.
give them.
Sometimes they give me the feedback. 5 stars.
Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you. Well, have an outstanding rest of the day. So appreciate you both being here. And to anyone watching the replay, thank you for taking the time to contribute and to yourself, to your growth, and have an outstanding rest of the day. Take care.
You as well, guys. Thank
Okay.
you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.